Hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. And you know, it's come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm your Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. I'm just drinking a little bit of water here because hydration is important. And I do have my cup mug as usual. And you can get your cup mug at LanaCheeseCreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. Get your cup mug. Period.
And hello, my name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel, and I would never sign up to this game with 30 different packs and have everyone under my control. I'm an innocent little baby. I would never do anything wrong, and how dare you accuse me of being malicious in any way? Anyway, you're going home next. And I have some lovely iced coffee with me.
um, yeah, this was interesting, to say the least. Um, I'm I'm still a little
This
like,
this
hmm.
was an episode. I'm not gonna lie, it was very much like, oh, okay. Well, we have our snake. Oh, we have an argument. Oh, and that's it. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's like, well, oh, okay. Um, I,
Yeah.
I'm, uh, I'm honestly just like blown away with this episode. Um, it was great that we got to talk to Pastor Jacob when we did on last week. So if you haven't checked out that interview with Pastor Jacob, you should do that now because it was actually a really good interview. So go check it out. Ding. And it was really good. It was actually a really good interview. And with everything that happened in this episode, I can understand why talking to him and a lot of the things that we talked about, the things that he could not say, now makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The things that we were talking around now makes sense. Um, yeah, this was interesting. I walked away from this episode with so many emotions. It was a it was a lot of emotions. I was just like, oh, ah, oh, okay, what? Oh,
Yeah. Hmm.
got it. Okay, well, this,
Interesting.
and then it left me with, we'll see. You know, all of that just to say, we'll see. But we're gonna talk all about it, and I know I'll ramble a little too much, but we talk all about it. But before we do, please subscribe to this channel and all of our other channels. This channel is on. Well, we are trying to get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the year, and we would love, love, love your help. If we get 1,000 new subscribers by the end of this year, we can unlock a lot of fun things on this channel, and we would love to do that for you. So help us out. Subscribe if you haven't already done it. Um, get us to that 1,000 so we can give you more amazing content. Follow us on all of our other channels. All those links will be in the description below, as well as our audio podcast links so you can check us out on the go. We appreciate you all over there because you all are doing it over there really well. So keep listening. We appreciate you. Also, join our Patreon so you can have early access to some of our shows and content, exclusive access to some content that will never come out on this channel, but it is just fun for behind the scenes and a lot of good fun things that we're doing. Check it out and follow us on all of our socials. That would be great.
Now,
Now,
this episode. Uh,
um,
the thing is, it just like there isn't really much to talk about other than just like Oh, Jack and McClane go kiss in the corner again.
Who cares? You know how I feel
Who
about
can?
showmances. I could care less about all these people liking each other and kissing. Who freaking cares? I get it for the game, and some people will always be blinded by how they feel, and I'm just like, whatever.
And on the other hand, we get a lovely little confirmation that Catherine is still in an undetectable four with the boys, and like they're so loud and abrasive and everything. Like, I'll never be caught
Until you are,
until
because you
you are.
because you decide to play so close to the sun. But even after all of that, even after all of that, it's just like, do I still enjoy this show? Absolutely. Do I still enjoy the players of the show? Absolutely. Is Catherine still my winner pick for this season? Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's
Be-
the only person that possibly makes sense right now, besides maybe Derek.
yeah. But like, so we get the whole thing of, you know, Pastor Jacob is, he can't sleep. He's just, after everything that happened the night before, after the whole debacle with Brett and the boys and that whole situation, and sending two people home who we did not want to send home. He just felt really bad, and he couldn't sleep. He ended up talking to Frankie about everything, and Frankie is just like, you know, a good ear to listen to. Frankie's a hairstylist. He's a um, um,
I mean, he kind of just like talks about like, hey, look, this game has been really weird. I don't necessarily like this as a pastor. Like, it just doesn't feel right. And Frank is just kind of reveling in like, yeah, no, this is what happens as a makeup artist. People just tell you things, and you just kind of are
mhm.
like, yeah, okay, yeah, you know what, good, yeah, I agree with all of that. Let me just shut up and keep that in my back pocket for later because if I need to, I will absolutely weaponize it.
Right, absolutely. And that's what you're supposed to do. You just you just listen. That's the whole point. Is a lot of game is just listening to the people around you to figure out who's saying what, who's telling who what, and it's um it's fine. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how Frank is playing this game. I really enjoy how Frank is playing this game because that's just what he do in his everyday life, and he's just doing it. And people are just responding how we normally would respond to somebody who was doing our hair or doing our makeup. Like, we just talk. We just talk to people, and I like how he's playing it. But people are starting to catch on a little bit, which is interesting to see that. I love that. But Jacob is, he's just like, I don't know what to do after his moral dilemmas are starting to affect his gameplay a little bit, and it's starting to show in the first half of this episode. So trying to see any other conversations besides the boys who just walking around just like, oh, we're doing it, like
There
bros,
really isn't
bros.
much else. We just almost immediately go to
It's a
uh
dinner party.
the dinner, which is absolutely not suspicious at all and definitely not a competition or anything. That almost all of the cast immediately clocks and is like,
This is something,
this is not only important, but you're about to screw with us in some way. But
right? And I'm like, well, I would have felt the same way. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Would I have thought the outcome, how it was going to be, was? No. I would have been like, well, let's see what happens. I know it's going to be something. I know it's going to be something, but what? What
yeah.
is it going to be? What's going to happen at this dinner party that's going to shake up the room? Because something is about to happen. I would have went into it thinking that, but I would have not went into it thinking that, hey, where you sit is the most important part of this challenge because I would have just took a seat anywhere and where a
Yeah.
seat was available and sat down. So I enjoyed how they set it up, and everybody was scared from the moment they sat down to what was under these cloches, like what's under here. Or um, they lifted up the thing and like the host is like, "Hey, it's just dinner." Everybody's like, "What? What? We're not."
No. Where are the
No.
roaches? Where are the roaches?
Right. They open it up and it's just dinner. And they're like, there's nothing. I was like, no, it's just dinner. Eat. Eat away. Drink. Eat and drink to your heart's content. So, and he leaves. And so they start eating, and everybody's like, something's gonna pop out. Something's go like this, we go take a bite, and it's not gonna be like meat, it's gonna be something else. It's gonna be something gross. But no, it's just dinner.
No, just dinner.
It's just
Mm.
dinner. So they eat. Um,
People get drunk,
yeah.
very drunk.
Some people more than others. Some people are trying to keep their wits about them because they understand that we can't get too crazy. So then he comes back. The host comes back, and he's like, "Did y'all enjoy your food?" They're like, "Yeah, that shit was great. I had a great dinner." Um,
Yeah, so the snake's already been decided. We're good. Let's just get this over with really fast. Everyone just lift up your plates real quick. Just, if you have a little medallion under it, you've won. If you haven't, you've lost.
and apparently,
Okay.
Alyssa has no idea what the medallion looks like, and she lifts it up. She's like, "Is this it?" I'm like, "Yes, Alyssa,
Yes, Alyssa, that's the medallion.
you are the snake. Congratulations."
Yay. And now
I
we
don't.
have.
I honestly, I was like, oh, I don't know about you. I didn't want her to be the snake this round. I
Yeah,
wanted
of
somebody else to be
all
the snake.
people. I mean, the one interesting thing is that Alyssa and Frank are basically at the dead center of the two
Yes.
warring sides.
Yeah.
So, inadvertently, this would have forced them to make a decision on which side to go with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that decision essentially gets ripped away from them via the strategy of the round,
Yeah.
because it doesn't make sense otherwise. But it could have been interesting,
It,
especially
it
with Frank probably being the second in command.
yeah. It could have been really interesting. It could have worked out for me. But honestly, I kind of wanted Christine to get it. I thought that would be
Yes.
so much more interesting if Christine had got it, especially with the events we're about to talk about. But I think if she would have got it, it would have forced these other people to actually pay attention to her and play with her instead of going against her every single time.
Hmm.
Because literally, as soon as Melissa got it and they get back to the layer and everybody, she's like, I want Christine gone. I'm like, for what reason? What has she
Because it's
done?
easy. It's easy. That's the
It's
that's the reason.
it's so flippin' annoying because it's like she hasn't done anything to anybody, and really, we're so far enough along in the game where you can see where the biggest players are, and you can see who is somebody who's not going to work for you. And I guess with them being in the middle, so deep in the middle, it's like, do I want to choose sides or do I just want to go the easy route? And I get it, but I just like it doesn't make sense to me. I probably would have to start chipping away at something and just be like, oh, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Like just like but well, yeah, of course this is the snake. So there's always twists, there's always some turns, and there's always a surprise. And dessert comes in and it's a crate.
Of course it is. I
And the
mean,
crate
I even thought this was potentially just a previous player. Like, oh, actually, the double elimination last week didn't matter. One of Brian and Cody's about to come back.
yeah, no.
No, no, it's just a new player again for some reason because Sure, introduce a new player in round 4.
Because of course they're going to get a fair shot at this game. I mean, look at Christine. She's
Look at
thriving.
Christine. Literally, like the second John walks out of the crate, everyone's like, "Can you leave?
Right. Go
We
back. Go
actively
away.
don't want you here. Go home. I don't give
Like,
a shit."
they were so mean to this man. Mayor John is who he is. He's the former mayor in California. And Ellsworth something, Elmhurst, California.
In Emeryville,
Emeryville.
California.
Yeah, he's a former mayor of Emeryville, California. And so he's like, oh, I'm just going to use my politician ways to, canoodle and smooch these people to keeping me around, trying to figure out. And immediately they are like getting on him. So Jack called him, he looked like he's a vape salesman. And I was,
Which, what a fucking thing to throw at him.
I, I was like, I, g- I
The
think my
problem
sister,
is he isn't wrong. He really isn't wrong.
he's a snake oil salesman for sure, but in a different way. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
you look like a salesman. People are like, could you get out of here? Like, I fear they were meaner to John than they were to Christine because they were a little shocked. But now they're like, okay, seriously, stop bringing new people in this game. We keep getting rid of people, and y'all keep bringing folks in. I'm sick of it at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but they just was like, okay, now we don't want you here. And he just kind of stood there and took it, but he was just like, I'm just gonna play, and if I gotta cut people out, it is what it is. And thankfully, they like, as prior to like Christine, John is safe from being eliminated this round, so you can't go for John. They tell him that right away because, of course. Um, and it's interesting. It's interesting. His first conversation is with Christine, of course, which I'm like, yeah, makes sense. You talk to the other new player, and but then he realizes that she has gained no ground in this game with anybody. And so he kind of thinks that she might not be the one he needs to try to talk, because she has no headway. Like, she couldn't get any inroads with anybody if she tried. And so he's like, I have to figure out how to do this. And I kind of like his strategy a little bit. I think if anybody's going to come in and stir up something and do something, I think it could be him.
I do think this is potentially the best option we have where it's like, yeah, no, John is willing to actively now play the game. He's already attaching himself to Christine. Like, of all people, John will be able to notice, like, hey, you're on the outside. Let's just, like, come together. And also, John is very obviously physically fit. Like, he will be able to do better in challenges. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
he has a good shot of winning a snake medallion at some point to screw some people up.
Absolutely. So it will be interesting to see what happens. We do see John have a conversation with Alyssa and Frank, because since we're on the subject of John, he goes and talks to Alyssa, and they explain the whole bed situation, how it works, who swaps out when somebody becomes a snake, and da da da. And when there is no snake, there's no layer, and the person has to come in the house and swap bed swap. And so he was like, well, when you come back, you can have your bed back, so you can stay next to Frank if you want. I'll sleep outside. And they're like, oh, that's so sweet. He's like, you want brownie points with that? I'm like, see,
There we go.
there we go. There we go. He's smart. He's thinking about all the things. Look, I think maybe he has a phone, but we're just not seeing it because having two phone bits wouldn't work.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. That joke was so much funnier in my head. Um, so yeah, this is where the foolishness happened because we get a flashback of something we didn't see. We didn't of that happened last night, and we see Catherine talking to Jacob. Was somebody else there? Or was it just Jacob? I thought
I
somebody
think
else
we.
was there, but it
Hmm,
might have been just Jacob.
it might have been just Jacob. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it probably was. But she tells Jacob that she has been in a alliance with the Bros, and they call it the Core Four, and she wants to get one of them out. And so she's like, I got to get one of them out, and I feel like if we can, work together, we can make it happen. And all that was true. She was telling the truth about that. She told him, but when she said that, it made Pastor Jacob not really trust her because she was still hanging out with the bros and talking to the bros. And he's like, is she playing both sides? Which the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Um, is she playing
Very
both
much.
sides? Yeah, she's telling one thing to one. Like she'll go to the bros, but like, we got to get Jacob out of here. He's not, you know, something. We just have to figure this out between him or Derek. One of them need to go. Da da. The bros want Derek out because Derek is strong and they think he's smart and he's probably on to them, which everybody should be on to them, but some of them are not. Um, and so it's like, okay, and her strategy, good strategy to surround yourself with their trust, have them trust you, but also be gunning for them because it's like they won't ever think it was you coming for them until it's too late. The strategy of this woman, how strategic her brain is really good. She is playing this game so well, in my opinion, so well. Um, but the dilemma here is when somebody is onto you and you've been playing such a manipulative game and is onto you, you have to quickly adjust. And so I think in this episode we saw a slip, but we saw an amazing recovery from Catherine. Like she had a slip and a chink in her armor, but she recovered very, very well. And I was like, okay. But my thing is, does this recovery last? Because I don't know. I feel like somebody might still be on to them, but it's how that person plays it. And we'll talk about that towards the end. But yeah, it's wild because Jacob now is on to Catherine, and he's like, I don't know if she's being honest. Something in my spirit is vexing me. I don't know. I've been burned before. I don't want to be burned again. Something is not right. And so he pulls. Oh, before we do that, get to that pool. Then another conversation happens between Derek and Jack, where Jack is like, listen, we going against each other. We know it. We're battling. But I think we're missing the bigger picture with us battling. We're not looking at the true people who are threats. And that's Frank and Alyssa. They're a duo, and we're not looking at them and how he wasn't wrong. He wasn't not wrong. Because if people would look and see that they're squarely in the middle, they can go either way on their decision. Like, do we take them out and then we can go to war? Because they are going to be the people who, you know, can make the decisions and be the driving force of any vote. Because it's going to all come down to them. They're going to always pick each other. We know that. But where do we go? If we have our bridge, we can lead them out. Whatever. He wasn't wrong, but Derek does not trust this man, and for good reason.
For good reason.
It's just like, I got him. Well,
There, I think ultimately what we're kind of seeing with this whole episode is just, and I feel like this is going to be a consistent theme throughout the rest of the season. It doesn't matter if you actually are telling the truth. It fully matters if you can convince people that you are telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That is all that this game is about. And unfortunately, we're starting to see the first casualties of people who can't do that come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Because after all of that happens, we see Jacob pull Derek and Amanda with and Catherine in the snake layer with Alyssa and Frank. And Jacob is like, listen, I know we got this pact, and I fully am in this pact with everybody, but it's something that is just not sitting right with me, and I don't think. Oh, and Jordan too, by the way.
Mhm.
Well, Jordan's involved in this too, which child, Jordan, is she a prosecutor? Please don't take my case. Jesus Christ. Because you get information and you just run with whatever. With you just trust who blindly in a game that's called the state. Why are we trusting blindly? I don't trust nobody in this game at all. But we're trusting blindly. But okay, I
Okay.
I I love it. I love it for her. But
It is incredible watching essentially Catherine just take control of this entire situation.
just
Just
oh my
casually
god.
says, "No, that isn't true. I'm leaving." And suddenly, when she leaves, everyone is like, "Yeah, no, she's absolutely right. You've just made her really upset, Jacob. Go fuck yourself."
Right. Like, because Jacob says he doesn't trust her, he outs the core four and tells that she's a part of it, and da da da. And Jordan's like, I don't believe anything you're saying. She would never do that. You made her mad. Look at her. Look at her. She's upset and she's crying. And you made her upset. So therefore you are the bad guy. And I'm like, what? We
Wow.
don't even we don't even look because honestly, the second she stormed out the room, I'm like, oh, she's lying. For me,
Uh,
that's me personally, because I'm like, if I call somebody out and catch them in a lie and they start acting defensive and getting upset at just the pure mention instead of saying, no, that's not true. I'm thinking you're lying. Like me
uh,
personally, you can't get defensive and be like, what? I would never say that. And for you to sit there and accuse me of doing it, it's just enough. And I screw you and I'm walking out. And they walk out. I'm like, now what's all that dramatics for? If I'm lying, why what's with the dramatics? Just be like, no, that's not true. I told you about the core four because I wanted to show you that this is what's going on. But because people just are so leading by emotions and people who they trust, who they think are telling them the truth, they're not looking
add direct to what's in front of them.
right. And I'm like, hello, what do you mean? But kudos to Catherine for building those types of relationships where people do just trust her blindly. They think she's so emotional and she's so this, she's so that. Jordan's go is probably watching this back and like, what the oh, I was played, and played again over and over about this sweet, innocent woman who keeps crying all the time, who's like, oh, it's just so hard for bruh. Anybody who reacts in a way like that, like she would have acted, would have completely maybe believed she's lying. And they're just like, "Oh no, she's crying, and you made her upset. You bad pastor." And then she goes out and weaponizes the tears that she has with the people who she's actually aligned with, and was like, "He has to go. He's might be a pastor, but that's bull." And da da da. Which again is part of the strategy to rally your troops to cover your bases and make you more insulated. This is why this woman is playing a masterful game. And the fact that people
Literally.
are not seeing it is mind boggling because For me, like I said, for me and me only. The second she stormed out of that room, I would have known she was lying. And I don't care who tell me otherwise. I'd be like, and if I was Frank, was because Frank was one of the people who was catching on. And I was like, Frank, get it. Just catch the
Come
revelation.
on.
Catch you almost there, Frank. Just catch it. And all it took was Alyssa or Jordan to say, I think they're lying. Yeah, I guess. And I'm like, no, Frank. You were
Mm,
catching it. You were catching it. You're catching him?
I I think Frank potentially did catch it, and maybe just in the moment when I don't think I can convince a room full of people right now that Jacob
Makes
is
sense.
possibly telling the truth, or at least Catherine is stretching the truth a little bit.
Right.
I don't need to become the next target after Jacob.
Facts.
Let me just let this ride. Jacob has already been on the bottom for a couple
True.
rounds. He's just gonna go anyway. Like, and
Uh,
I'm already insulated. Alyssa's going to save me this round. Like,
yeah.
I'm good.
It makes
Like,
sense
I
because
don't I don't need to do much.
it makes sense. Don't put your neck out for somebody else who you know is already a sinking ship. If you see the
Mm-hmm.
sinking ship happening, you just let it sink. Um, but I do think you're right. I do think Frank is catching it, and I think he's probably caught it, but he's like, let me hold on to it because I don't know what's gonna come next. As long as I'm safe, everything else is
Yeah.
gravy. And I get that. But boy, I cannot.
Mm.
I have to give Catherine her flowers because she is
Oh
eating
yeah.
this up. Because her plan was to walk away from this unscathed, and she kind of did. Because she gathered her troops and took them into that snake lair, and they went to war for her.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say she walked out of it unscathed. I'd say she walked out of it with more armor. Like
Oh,
genuinely.
yeah,
That which could have sunk her game, she walked out of it in a better position. Which
yeah. It's
I don't get
crazy.
it, but it's amazing.
It's amazing to watch. I was fully like, what? What do you mean this person who got caught in a lie could turn around, flip it around, and walk out of it, like you said, in an even better position than she was when she got started? It's crazy work. And I'm just like, wow. Wow. Did I like watching it happen to Jacob because I like Jacob on the show?
No.
No, I didn't like watching it happen to Jacob, but watching it was a masterclass at how you just get out of stuff.
Yeah.
It was so impressive, and everybody who is going to I'm sure when they are watching this back, and if they didn't know, because like since we don't know the outcome of this game, if they didn't know how well she was playing all of them, I know they're gonna be watching it like, dang, I look wow. She got me, gal. Like she got me good because Jordan was so on her side, completely 100%, no questions asked. I know they're lying. You saved me twice. This is what it's gonna be. We like she was down for whatever. The boys don't even see she's playing them, and they're like, "Oh no, we riding for Catherine. We are." Everybody in that room was riding for Catherine except Jacob, and it was like, "Ah, man." So seeing that, and then we get the argument between Derek and Jack because Derek had told Alyssa that they were coming, the boys were coming for them, which was very true, which was very true. And this is why I felt like Frank caught it.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I felt like Frank caught it because Jack and Devontae come in hot for no reason at all, but he comes in hot and he's just like, "Y'all, you're turning the lion and da 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 da." And just there, Derek is like, we had a conversation because Alyssa's like, so what is this that we're hearing that y'all are coming for me and coming for us? And Jack is like, what? What? What do you mean? And Derek was like, we had a conversation. You came to me and you said that we need to work together to get them out. Well, I said we did have a conversation, and I said that we were battling against each other, and we need to maybe try to not go against each other. But what? And I was just like, what?
Mm,
What? And I mean,
what?
loud, argumentative, just mad, defensive. We would never. This is this, and I'm not. Da, da, da. And I'm just like,
Okay.
hmm,
That's a lot of energy. That is
a
a
lot.
lot of energy if part of it isn't at least true.
Right. And then we on the other side, the flip side, we had Derek sitting there like, you said it, but you said it. Did we not have the conversation? Well, yeah, we had it, but so you said it. I didn't. And I was like, he's like, okay. Well, I'm just saying, I ain't never lied to nobody in this game. What you mean? Like, I did not lie. You said what we said. We had the conversation. And I think Frank was like, everybody else is loud and yelling and defensive. And Derek is just sitting there like, very cool, calm, collect, which I would have definitely taken note of. I know, and I'm sure you would have too, Jack, because it's like you said, why is all this energy coming at me right now for people telling the truth?
It, it's simply put too much for it not to be something because there's a lot of defenses up where people shouldn't have defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are that many people getting emotional over Catherine getting a little bit of heat? Are that many people getting emotional over Jack getting a little bit of heat? It's just it's disproportionate to what should actually be existing. But here we are, and I mean, I'm sure it'll implode at some point during this game when literally there are no other options. We just have to figure out if it'll implode faster.
Right. And so we see Frank just kind of shut it down, like, hey, this is too much. Stop it. And I'm
Girls,
like,
stop fighting!
it's
Stop it!
too much.
No!
Can't do it. Go away. Everybody get out. Like Alyssa's like, everybody just leave. And oof. And
Uh,
Frank is like, that was a lot. Do
mm-hmm.
we trust it? And Alyssa's like, I don't trust it because I feel
No.
like they're all scrambling. And I'm like, girl,
Okay.
did we not watch the
Well,
same thing play out? Did we not just watch this whole scene play out? Because I
I,
would have been like, why were the people yelling and then other people were calm?
I
It,
I simply don't think that. I mean, Frank could have brought it up to Alyssa in that moment, but then it's Alyssa and Frank versus everyone who was just screaming.
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even if I think it ultimately doesn't matter.
Matter.
Sadly,
Yeah, it really
it
doesn't.
it really doesn't.
It really doesn't. So we go to the snake pit where everything is just gonna go down and play out itself. Um, and I personally feel like they knew what they were going to do even before they got there. I think they
Mm-hmm.
knew how they wanted this to play out, and it really was just like, okay, all right, but
I
let's look.
will note one thing that thankfully they did this time because it actually made sense. They were like, hey, John walked into the game. They told them at dinner John is safe, so they
Yeah,
don't have the option of throwing John out of the game.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Cool. That's a start, but yeah, no, the rest of this is very much just paint by numbers, the obvious thing that's going to happen all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
except for potentially the last poll.
right. So of course Alyssa goes, she is safe. She's safe. Oh my God, I can't believe she saved Frank. Who would have thought? It was a
Crazy.
shocker to me that
Crazy.
she so Frank. She saves Frank. Frank then in turn saves Jordan. And then once he saves Jordan, I was like, oh well, we know where this is gonna go
Yep.
because
This is it's like cool, great.
I was like,
Hmm.
Jordan of all people. This might sound mean. I kind of want her to go. She's kind of bugging me for lots of reasons, but she's
I,
kind of getting on
I,
my nerves. I'm just really
I
not
mean,
interested.
honestly, the thing is, has Jordan done anything in this game?
No, she's not
Exactly.
interesting. She's
I
not an
I love
interesting
I,
character.
I I know she's probably a very lovely person outside the
Sure,
game,
absolutely.
literally a spot filler in this game where it's like, okay, you are the reason that Brian was saved in round one because you were used as the bridge. You were used as a bridge in another round. You were used as a bridge in another round. Jordan has not made a single strategic move throughout this game. And
And
she hasn't needed to.
she hasn't needed to, and I get that. It's just so boring to watch on television. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
but once that happened, once Jordan was picked, it was like, okay, well, we know where this is going to go. I know the exact order this is going to fall. Um, Jordan, of course, picks Catherine. No shock, no surprise. Now, Catherine picking McLean, I was like, I understand. I get it because you don't want to pick the bros, even though you're in that core four alliance. You don't want to pick the bros because you don't want to look like you're a part of the bros, but you pick somebody who you know for sure is going to pick the bros. And that was a smart move. She picks McLean, who then in turn picks Jack, who then in turn picks Brett, who then in turn picks Devontae, who then in turn picks up Amanda, who he's now canoodling with, and they kissing and everything, and they like each other now. And I was like, I get it, showman's couples, but I actually feel like Amanda is actually playing him more than McLean because McLean is just not playing Jack.
Yeah.
McLean is just in love because we see kisses happening. She's just like, oh my god, I just like him, and I think I like him more than being this. Kissing him is better than being the snake. And I'm like, girl, shut up. What
I
do you
I
mean?
will I will note though, even if it was like a basically foregone conclusion, this is easily the lowest that all three of the boys have been to elimination to this point.
Yes.
I mean, granted, Amanda, Christine, Derek, and Jacob were below them, so none of them were ever in danger,
Hmm.
but like, this is the first time where they've been technically close to the bottom.
Yeah,
So,
and that's because neither none of them won, and
mhm.
that it's just yeah.
None of them won, and or no one in their alliance won because we had Catherine, then Jack, then McLean. This time we just have Alyssa, and they're not automatically at the top.
Right. So it's kind of like okay, whatever. But Amanda has decided that she um no longer wants to be associated with Jacob and Derek because they stirred the pot. And so she's going to
Which,
make
yeah,
sure, sure. I mean, if it enemy number one in the house is somebody you're aligned with, that's probably not a good look for you. And
if it's enemy one and
and
enemy
two,
number two, just
just
leave.
leave, walk
I
away while you
mean,
can.
literally, I can see Amanda next week going to Christine and John, just being like, "You both are good. You both need a third. Hi."
I
Like,
mean, it's just yeah, you need to move it or lose it at this point. Um, so she abandoned ship, which I don't blame her at all for doing
mhm,
so. And so she picks Christine to stay because she does not want to pick between the two. She wants one of them gone, and she's going to. And if I'm Christine, I'm like, okay, cool. Let me ride out this, picking because the other side are eating each other up. And so while they fighting, I'll stay and continue to grow my connections the best way that I can. Um, but so Christina's safe, and so it's between Derek and Jacob, and now Lissa has to choose between the two. And she's like, I don't really know what I want to do because both of you are, stirring up trouble. And I don't know which one to trust. So convince me. And Derek is like, I have not lied to anybody in this game. And Jack is like, whoa, whoa. I'm like, what are you doing? But nobody else sees that as a red flag. Me, I would have been like, this man is full of it. Garbage and lies. But okay. Um, he's like, I'm not throwing anybody on the bus. I was just telling the truth. That's exactly what you're doing, bro. You're throwing me under the bus. He's like, I never lied. You, but I'm like,
Okay. This is
this man
far too much.
so much. This man is such a bad liar. And I don't understand why. I mean, because we're not there, because I'm not there, and I get it. I might not see some things. He might be very charming. He might, but those like that defensive that anybody who does that to me, I'm automatically thinking they're a liar.
It's like,
Automatically. It,
so it
it
just
does.
it doesn't make sense. And this great thing to do if anyone's watching purely on audio, because that makes complete sense to do. But yeah, no, there's no question uh what's gonna happen here. It's just a matter of time, and when Alyssa finally decides to speak up and just say that she's saving
Yeah,
Derek. So all we gotta do is just wait for that moment.
because of course she's gonna save Derek. But then Jacob says, "Hey, listen, let me holler at you for a second. Um, I'm sick of this because all I've been doing is trying to be honest. I'm trying to be honest, and apparently, my honesty does not go a long way here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have, I fear that what I do in my life and what I'm trying to do in this game is not adding up. It's not working out. I have tried to show that I am trustworthy I can be trustworthy. I can play this game without being lie and manipulative, and it's showing that it's not, because that's not what seems to be happening here. And yeah, I I I don't know what to say, because y'all believe, and Catherine is going in on him, talking about some that's bull. You're just lying, and she has to double down because she is now too far into this whole situation of being mad, and she has to double down. And people are like, "You just showed your cards. We don't trust you." Blah blah blah. And there is no other choice for him at this point. He's like, nothing I say is going to convince anything or change
Mm-hmm.
anything. So
His
therefore,
his only
the
shot was being saved by Amanda. Amanda is abandoning him, so either Alyssa saves him and he goes home next round, or he goes home this round. There's literally no option.
yeah, and so he kind of was like, I'm just gonna go.
I'm just gonna go.
I'm just gonna go because I feel like Derek is more equipped to handle this than I am. And I'm like, I felt bad. I didn't want to see Pastor Jacob go, but uh
It, it very much was just like, yeah, that's the right option here.
yeah,
Jacob has been struggling for a footing since challenge number 2.
yeah.
Honestly, since the beginning of the
Can it?
game.
They don't
Like
trust a priest in a game like this, a pastor in a game like this.
honestly, just looking at who's gone here.
Mm-hmm.
The cop,
Yep.
the bounty hunter, the bull rider, the pastor. All 4 people
And the
who were
ex-con.
selected by Mina, and then Brian because he didn't just have any connections. But
Right.
literally it's the group that played the first challenge completely controlling the game, and everyone else is just getting screwed over. And there's literally almost nothing that the group that isn't in that non-dinner group can do about it. Like they
So
just have to win a challenge.
Who's left
So
from the dinner group?
Amanda, McLean is, I think, the exception, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, McLean, Derek.
Well
Every
then,
other person in that dinner group has been taken out of the game.
mm,
The only exception to that is the ex-con.
yeah.
and then we have Christine and John who weren't even in the game at that point. So they're not really talking about it, but we really are seeing just one side kind of like blow through the remainder of the game here,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, which is really unfortunate to see, but also
Hmm.
is what's going to naturally happen in a game like this. So that's why you don't introduce a twist like that at the first step. Like, it's like you throw any other challenge at these people and they have to naturally come up with that. You give
Right.
them a reason to divide the game in half, and
They'll take it.
losing half of the game almost immediately appears. So
Absolutely.
I think it's just
Absolutely.
an unfortunate outcome, but
It is.
I don't think they
But
even called it.
no, I don't think they have, and I don't think they'll mention that, but it's just naturally happening in this situation with them. But we do find out that this game is going to continue to shock us, blow our minds, twists will happen. Because just because Jacob is out of the game doesn't mean Jacob doesn't have a hand in what goes on in this game, which I find very interesting. Um, we see that Jacob is talking to the host, and they're like, you have an option to either give someone an advantage or a disadvantage in the next challenge. So every player after they're leaving is going to get a chance to either screw up somebody's game or um, help somebody's game. And I would like to know, Jack, from you, do you do you give someone a disadvantage or do you give someone an advantage
Right now, my
without
thought is
knowing the
that
challenge?
you just, if your side is losing,
Hmm.
you give your side an advantage because there are there are 3 or 4 people who are willing to work with you versus the 8 who weren't.
Hmm.
So you give the strongest potential push to someone on your side to let them win versus try and drag down one of the 8 people who could maybe win.
Right. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, you have to help out the person or the people who you're rocking with. So I'm assuming Derek is going to get this advantage. It has
Mm,
to be Derek at this point if he does the
it has
advantage
to be.
because it only makes sense. But what do you think about adding this twist into the game in week 4?
I'm not mad at it because once again, the whole dynamic of this game is every decision you make has consequences.
Hmm.
Meaning that, yeah, it does make sense as a game mechanic. I think this also is subtly telling us no player will be returning to the game or coming into the game at this point. This is just
Yeah.
saying we're done with that phase. We're now just going to have players assign advantages and disadvantages. I do think it's smart. It makes sense as a game mechanic. Not mad at it.
Do they tell the players that that's what's going on, or do they never know until they get eliminated?
I think they'll, maybe this first time they won't necessarily know why,
Hmm.
but I think after the second time it's like, oh, okay, so Derek got an advantage, and then next round, let's say, I don't know, Amanda goes. Derek gets an advantage again, or Jack gets a disadvantage, and it's like, oh, okay, no,
Uh-uh.
clearly the eliminated player is screwing with something.
Right.
So I think they're going to figure it out in 1 to 2 rounds at the very least, and then that could become an interesting motive of like, hey, but if you go, please give me an advantage. That would be nice. Or if you do go, we can both agree to screw this player. To where it's like, well, you can't be the snake next round.
Right.
So
I'm
I
excited
can
to.
see it.
Yeah, I can see it too. I'm excited to see what happens with this, what they decide to do with this, and how it's going to play out. But I'm very sad to see Jacob go.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him on my screen, but it also opens me the door for me to just focus my energy on the one person that I really want to win this game, and that is Catherine. And
Exactly.
I think she's doing an amazing job at it. But oh, that is it. That is all we got with this episode. It was a it was a lot.
It
It was a
was a
lot.
lot, even
I
if
didn't
it didn't really feel like much was happening.
right, and I don't know. I didn't think that it was going to be this much. We were going to be go this in depth in it, but it actually was a lot. And I'm excited to continue to watch this show. This is really a good show. I think. I hope they get a second season already. I'm like, yeah, give them another one. Work
Yeah.
out the little kinks that they have. Let them figure out some more of the dynamics so they can make it better. But I can only see this game getting better and better if they, work out a few things. But I enjoy it. I'm sad. I'm interested still.
I'm very interested to see how this keeps going. I mean, next week it seems like it's some sort of head-to-head challenge, which
Mhm.
means people could have to publicly call each other out. Like, I'm ready for things to like fully erupt here because right now, even now we're in like a very basic portion of the game where it's one side essentially just knocking the other.
Right,
What happens when that's not possible anymore?
right. So we'll see. We will be back next week to see all of what's going to happen with the snake. Thank you for watching. If you got this far in the video, we appreciate you taking the time to watch us. Let us know in the comments what you think about this episode, what you think about the snake. Are you enjoying it as much as we are? Let us know what you think. Subscribe to this channel on your way out. We really appreciate you being here. Subscribe to this channel, subscribe to all of our channels. All those links will be in the description below, as well as our audio podcast links and our Patreon. Join that. And then follow us on our socials at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And you can follow Jack and myself on those same platforms. All our links will be down there as well. And you can get your merch at lanacheesecreations.etsy.com. Get your mug. And we are gonna get out of here. We're gonna go because we got more stuff to do. But you could just sit back and watch another video because that's what we would appreciate. So
Maybe
we'll
the
see y'all.
interview with Pastor Jacob just on the way out. You know,
Yeah,
have some fun with it.
that's a great way to go. So go check that interview out and check out all of our videos. And we're gonna get out of here. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers!
Bye.